The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaraya Productions. Hello everyone! Welcome back to Tokucast, episode number 127.
Yes!
Back with another review. We're back with Ultraman. It is the newest Ultraman.
That just finished a few weeks ago.
That just finished.
This is the year of us catching up.
Yes. And because this is we are going to be discussing spoilers because this is such a newer show, I will give you the chance to escape if you do wish to watch this one.
Ultraman Trigger.
Ultraman Trigger. Good, bad, and Terabad.
Okay.
We're good, bad, Terabad.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So we'll start with the good.
I don't have a lot.
Tell me what's there.
I like some of the fights, and I like not Bosco.
Ignis.
Yeah, I did like Ignis.
I like Ignis as well. I will agree with you on some of the fights, and I also think this is some of the best miniature work we've ever seen.
Yeah, they do get more. Like we saw really good ones during the Z.
We did.
So it's just, I think they're just stepping it up.
They are stepping it up, and they're really going in on destruction in this one.
And I appreciate
there are a lot of shots in this, especially towards the end of the series, where you get just a craning, like just a pan shot over just the destroyed, bombed hellscape of the city where our heroes and villains have been doing battle.
Yeah, because we had to get destroyed bomb hellscapes in both the city and on everything else in this show.
Yeah, pretty much. I brought it up in one of our previous Toku talks, but the fight where it's, we have like the monster and then we have Ultraman and the camera is panning back and forth between two miniature apartments and it follows the fight from those windows and we see the miniatures, like a bike on the wall and the computer and stuff, like fall over as the fight's going on. That's really cool. I really like that.
They do very well with their miniature work. It's just, I think it's one of those things where I don't want to say I expect it because when it doesn't happen, I'm going to be disappointed. But it's like I almost expect it from Ultraman nowadays to have really good miniature work.
Yeah, but it's nice to see them improve upon the past and also keep doing good stuff.
Yeah,
I like that. I think that some of the performances are good.
We haven't talked about the opening yet
because we're not to bad yet. We'll get to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's the greatest either.
I think some of the performances are good. I think for the most part the show is well cast. Other issues arise
notwithstanding.
Yeah. Other issues notwithstanding, but like the guy, our lead Ultra, I think he does a pretty good job. I really like Ignis. He's not great. I think he does a good job. I think he's okay.
I think I'm going to actually save this for the Terabad situation because I really don't think I know a lot of this was not their fault. It was really stuff. I'm not sure where it came from the top or from the bottom or now we're here. But COVID screwed this show up so badly because they rewrote 80% of it.
Did they now?
Yes.
So bad.
We're just going to combine the last 2 seconds. I'm going to give it down.
No. I'm going to keep them separate because there are things that I think are bad, but not the worst. I'm going to say the theme song. I think the chorus is really good.
Yes!
The chorus is really good. Because the show is all on YouTube, I was able to watch it like on my TV with my soundbar on, and like when that chorus hits and that
pull the trigger,
and that beat is just like thumping through on my soundbar, that sounded really good.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Everything leading up to it was just like, man, whatever.
It's fluff and not in a good way.
Fluff is a good way to describe it.
Yeah,
it's flavorless cotton candy.
Yeah, and it's really not. I don't know what it is about this opening, but it's like it really could be once again the singer. I don't want to compare everything to Zet because that's unfair.
that note that he holds, that's like unfair.
Zet has a very unfair opening by one of my now favorite opening singers.
Oh, really?
Look, when you do One Punch Man, you just go that hard.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. But this guy for the Trigger
one
one,
or season 2?
Season 1.
Okay.
But this guy for the Trigger one, something about it, it doesn't gel with me, and I think this is really not the same problem I'm sort of having with the Dawn Brothers one. Because it's like, the chorus for the Dawn Brothers one is pretty okay. But there's a part in the Dargon Brothers song when he goes like, yeah, and I'm just like, you sound weirdly lifeless and dead right now, and it sounds bad. It takes me out of the song.
It doesn't have the impact you feel like should.
Yeah. I don't want to compare everything there to the Tokucast opening or some of the other ones that we really like, but yeah, that's just one of those where I'm just like, no, thank you. Here though, Trigger. I think I'm going to save everything else for the Terabat.
You think you're going to save?
I think I'm going to save everything else for the Terabat for me.
Bad. You know what? Yeah, let's just move on. I'm gonna let you start.
The writing. Like I said, a lot of it was redone.
Tonally, this show is a mess.
It is
this show
atrocious.
This show is tonally very confused as to what it wants to be.
It wants to be Tiga so bad. It wants to be the Tiga movie so damn bad. It's like they took the Tiga movie and just did this.
For me, it's like they couldn't decide when they wanted to be goofy and fun and when they wanted to be dark and serious.
Because there was no way they could.
The way they mix the two sometimes is
old Ranger levels of Whiplash.
It's bad. It's really. I mean, when our hero is tragically defeated, inches away from death, and then in that same episode, we have a little song and dance number where another Ultra shows up to make him
reboot.
Yeah, Ultraman Reboot shows up, and he's like
one of the two. I will say it was good to see him.
Whatever. I don't remember what he's from. I'm going to be honest.
Well, he's not from any he wasn't official. He was from Malaysia.
I didn't think so.
They made him.
It's like, that doesn't look like anything I've seen. But
and then Subaraya basically bought it.
Bought the rights.
Yeah, so now he's actually in the continuity. I don't believe, though, that the actor...
I was going to say, is it the same actor?
No, because River was made a while ago. But I'm a little bit upset that they did not get a Malaysian actor for this. I feel like they could have.
As fast and loose as Ultraman plays with alternate universes... It could just be a different version of the character.
We saw both him and Zeto come back in this show. And those are just highlights, but the direction in the show, they couldn't save anything. Yes, it was good to see them, but it was also trash. And
fan service can be great if you give it the right context and it's in a good story.
Very much so.
And then there's just I know what that is. They said the thing that I recognize. I know who that character is. Yay! And that's kind of what it felt like.
Here's sort of my problem with this. When you're going to have a cast like this, you got to really make something to make them stand out in a good way. I do not think anybody in this cast stood out in a good way. Except for Ignis.
You want to hear my real hot take?
Go ahead.
This should have just been Ultraman Ignis.
Agreed.
Ultraman Ignis should have been the show.
Agreed.
The show should have been he had the most interesting story. He was the best actor. This actor, I'm freezing on his name, you'll forgive me, but he
played Bosco.
He played Bosco in Gokaiger, and from his first introduction scene where he shows up at their mansion and just immediately owns the other two guys, and then he's like, I am a treasure hunter here to steal the most exquisite treasures, and what are you if not exquisite? And her reaction is priceless. I love that because she's like, yes.
Yes, thank you.
You're not wrong.
I was like,
I'll put that in the good category. That whole scene is, fantastic.
I agree, because yes. But everybody else,
we have. It's like we tried to squeeze comedy where we could. There is, I'll admit, I think a pretty funny scene with the stoic leader man, who is it's like there's an episode where a thing is happening and there's some stuff going on and stuff is happening around him, but it's just a tight shot of him at the desk being all Gendo Ikari, and it's just stuff is happening around him, and at one point Bosco has a scalp massager and is just going doot, doot, doot on his head, and he's not reacting to it at all, and that made me laugh.
I think some of the things that does help some of these actors is the fact that I've seen Bosco before, seen the leader in Amazons, is the guy who got his arm torn off, part of the team, seen the guy who was the big strong one in that one episode of Loopat, but I didn't give a damn. I didn't give a damn about anybody in this show. Except Bosco.
Because they don't really make any effort to characterize them aside from they have their little quirks. You have, like, the alien. You have the guy who likes to work out. You have the girl who's, like, really emotionless, but then as soon as she gets in the pilot of their jet, she's like,
you know, when we did our first impressions on the show, I mentioned that the cast didn't really stick out to me. Mm-hmm. I thought I would like her. I did not. I thought I would like him. I did not.
There's also just a lot of... There are some just bafflingly bad acting choices in this show. In terms of, like, how they approach the scene and the level of emotion they're trying to bring to it. But there's this one moment that really stood out to me as, like, a failure on the part of the actors and on the part of the director. It's the episode where, I forget the lead girl's name, but her dad comes back to visit, who is, like, the chairman of the whole organization. And there's a scene where they're exploring some ruins, and he gifts her a necklace. Mm-hmm. Something that could have potentially been a very sweet scene was ruined by some of the dumbest blocking. Because the whole scene is just shot, reverse shot of the two of them, and they don't give the actors any room to play around in the space.
You know, it's weird because it felt like they were...
I'm not done. I need to say this.
Okay, go ahead.
This has been stewing in my brain for so long. And they don't give them any room to play in the space, so when he gives her the necklace... Now, if you have a friend or a romantic partner that you're giving a necklace to, and they have longer hair... What do?
Usually...
You move their hair out of the way, or they'll move their hair out of the way so you can put the necklace on. Because of how they blocked the scene, he just sort of awkwardly leans over and puts the necklace around her, and she has long black hair. So her face is just very awkwardly, like, smooshed and silhouetted against her long hair because the necklace is squishing it towards her face. And it looks so silly.
It looks
and it completely deflates the scene. Any emotional impact that would have.
Like, it's weird because they try to sort of play it so straight, but at the same time...
Well, they're trying to play it like it's a heartfelt, touching moment.
I know, but they try to play it so straight. But it sort of comes off as, like, one of those really bad Indian Bollywood dramas, which I love because they're... But it's like, those like, I know those are also done sort of seriously, but they also feel like they're done as a joke. These ones feel like it was done too seriously, but it came off as a joke.
Bollywood cinema is all about, like big productions and big craftsmanship. Like, everything is big when it comes to Bollywood. Or
some of the older ones, really, really bad Premiere Pro effects, like when people are walking down steps and we have 54 jump cuts of them and like a glass shattering effect. If there's no glass shattering effect, you're not watching an Indian drama.
Or a dead kid in a swimming pool.
God, it's so good. I love them.
Bollywood is all about, like, grandiosity, and then this, it's just more like...
Trash.
It's just trash. Like, we didn't block this correctly, and we were behind schedule and couldn't redo it.
You know what? Something else that really pissed me off. They might bring this back in the movie, but I feel like we had a Chekhov's gun this entire goddamn show. The flower.
Why did they name it after Cthulhu City? R'lyeh is the sunken city in Lovecraft mythology where Cthulhu lives, or is slumbering, I should say. It just seems like a weird name for a flower.
They just did nothing with it, so it felt like a Chekhov's gun this entire show.
At the end, it blooms, but it's just like a flower.
Usually, when they put that much emphasis, especially on something like that in Ultraman, it usually ends up being some space thing. And it didn't happen.
Well, it technically is, because it's a flower from Mars.
Shut up.
I'm not wrong.
It was still trying. Like, it usually ends up being a lot bigger.
That's another thing I want to bring up.
Mars.
But you finish your thought first.
Yeah, it felt like if you're going to put that much emphasis, especially at the beginning of a show, and it doesn't do anything but bloom at the end, it feels like a bad checkoff. And they checked off just so many boxes in this show. And none of them were deserved.
Okay, so Mars. We're on Mars in the first episode, and, like, that's it. You had again, it gets back to that missed opportunity thing of, like, you had the potential to set Ultraman on a completely different planet. But nope, we have to go back to Earth. Boring old regular Earth.
It wouldn't have been so bad if, like I said earlier, this just wasn't the Tiga movie just extended.
I mean, watched it's been a long time since I've watched it, so I don't really remember. So,
like, everything is from the whole thing is built off as new generation Tiga, and it tries.
Tiga shows up like once.
It tries real hard to be Tiga, and it doesn't have its own identity.
I didn't get that. I felt like it was trying to be its own thing, but it failed spectacular. You have so many. Especially towards the end of the show, we were talking about the destruction earlier. Mm-hmm. They are really trying to emphasize in this show the level of destruction that has been caused. There are so many shots of like people running away from things and just the city being this bombed out rubblescape where monsters have done battle, and they keep juxtaposing it with too many goofy moments that just feel out of place.
And the villains are...
It's both too self-serious, but it's also trying to have its cake and eat it by making you laugh, and the laughs...
don't work.
They never land.
It's like... I do want to get onto the villains because...
Yeah, please let's.
The blue one, Hudrian, I believe his name was.
He should have been the main villain.
He should have.
Again, because Ultraman Ignis should have been this show. You had all the setup there to have the anti-hero Ultraman. This could have been the...
what you want to do with Jugglers.
This is could have been... Yeah, what you could have been done with Juggles. This could have been a great anti-hero show with Ignis, like selfishly out for his own revenge and, eventually learning to, protect others in the process. Yeah. It could have been that, but instead we're stuck with, yet another, pulled off the rack protagonist that we get in so many of these shows.
Dargon.
Who's got his... Are you talking about the villains now?
Yeah.
Carmira, Dargon,
Hudrum was the blue one who should have been the main one.
Yeah.
Dargon could have had a good story, but I tied it all to the 17-year-old girl.
I texted you when I was watching this that there was a scene that was making me super uncomfortable. It was the scene where he was trying to hit on her using manga tropes.
It was the worst.
It was so uncomfortable. It didn't. I get they were going for comedy, but it didn't make me laugh. It just made me very uncomfortable. Because he does the Kamido and the wall slap, but he punches a giant hole in the concrete because he's so strong. He tries to do a head pat, but he just kind of squishes her skull because he doesn't know how
it felt like it came out of nowhere because it did.
It did because it's in prior episode. He's got our heroes on the ropes and he's captured her, but she slaps him in a way that I feel should have made a hollow thunk with the plastic sound, but it didn't because sound effects. And then it's gasp, I feel so strange. What is this emotion I am just feeling? And then Ignis is you're in love. And then we get to watch Ignis guide him through some TV tropes.
You're right. If it was just Ignis and weirdly enough Dargon as a villain, but he doesn't fall in, or at least make it somebody older. I feel like that was the thing that did not help at all. She's 17. Yeah, and Carmiara, besides sounding like a nice Italian dish,
I love the pasta Carmiara. It feels like they were going for that classic, sexy bad girl.
Turn good,
I guess. I was going to say turn good. I was just going to say, the sexy bad girl that we see in a lot of old school anime or Sentai or whatnot. Like what they did with, darn it, I'm freezing on her name. One of the villainess from Kira Major.
Yodana.
Well, what they were doing with her. It kind of feels like what they were going for that, but with an Ultraman villain. And I like that our female villain is that we have a female villain as the main villain. I think that's cool because we don't get that much, certainly not in Ultraman. And it was cool that they tried it, but it's again, I just didn't care. It's so poorly written. How strong she is seems to fluctuate from episode to episode.
I hate this show.
I hate this.
I literally do. This show was a waste of my time. And what makes it worse is just I felt myself getting bored watching it. Nothing could keep my interest. I hated everybody except Ignis. Mm-hmm. I just didn't care.
I don't blame you.
Like, I know you had more than I did problems with Zed. I really enjoyed Zed.
I know you did.
But coming into this one, it's just like, I saw the problems at the beginning. And it felt like there was nothing I could do to get out of the way. Mm-hmm. And we already have the next one being played on Ultraman Decker. Mm-hmm. Or Dicker, one of the two. It's supposed to be like, oh, it's supposed to be another sequel. But this time to Dinah.
Not a sequel to this one? Because
it's going to be a sequel to this one.
Okay, because this show ends with our hero kind of doing like a Persona 3 thing where we have like a force that's out of control and he has to use himself as like a conduit to like keep it under control. And then eventually I guess he's going to get out. I
mean, let's face it. Because Dinah was a sequel to Tiga, Decker is going to be a sequel to Trigger.
Okay.
And I'm already sad about it. It's just like they're just recycling.
That's what Ultraman does.
Is the next one going to be a sequel to Gaia? Because that was third.
How about a sequel to G that's just focused on Liha?
Actually, do that. just make
Liha the movie.
Just bring everybody back and just have Liha be the main character.
Or do another G movie that's the same quality, if not better, of the first G movie. Because that movie was incredible.
That movie was great. Make another Mega Monster battle. You know, a good one.
Or just have Juggles stare at a camera for 2 hours and just like smile and be like, "Hey guys, what's up? I'm Juggles."
He got married recently.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Congratulations to him.
Yes.
So he's not looking anymore. There.
I'm done with this. I hated this show. Plus side, though, next 3 weeks from now,
we're reviewing Zenkaiger.
I am so excited.
We are reviewing Zenkaiger.
Yes. And I am so unbelievably excited to review Zenkaiger. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I think
it's certainly yours.
It is fantastic. We're just saying
cup of tea with a side of biscuits.
Going into a much more comedy-focused Sentai, but I liked it so much more than anything Go Under gave. But yeah, let us know what you think about Trigger in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? Were you on the side of us? Were you not?
Looking at the comments from our last video where we asked people to say what they thought.
No one said anything about it, really.
No, they said things about it, and they said pretty much the same thing we did. And it was trash.
Yeah. But yeah, join us for Zenkaiger in episode 128. Mm-hmm. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to join us on all the things. Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, and Insta. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.